Life, sweet life, sweet life. Hi guys, and welcome back. Today you guys are gonna get to see me make this adorable gender reveal full dessert package. So first we're going to start off by melting our chocolate. These are some pink candy melts, as you guys saw earlier in the video. I got them from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just adding about 2 teaspoons of coconut oil, and then they went into the microwave, so I'm stirring those. So I saw this method on TikTok. You guys know I have a TikTok problem. I can't stay off TikTok. So I saw this method where the lady poured the chocolate onto a wax sheet or parchment sheet, and then she rolled the pretzel, and I thought it was so cool until I tried it. This was so aggravating, and I feel like it took so long, and I feel like it did not get enough chocolate on the pretzel. Maybe I didn't put enough chocolate onto my paper. I don't know, but I struggle. I just feel like it took longer for me to do it this way. But I had already committed to showing you guys this method in the video, and you can just see me struggling trying to get it fully coated in chocolate. Maybe I didn't use enough chocolate. I don't know. She just made it seem so easy on TikTok. But I did end up dipping these in chocolate again at the end because it just wasn't enough chocolate on there for me. So yeah, that's why I'm using this method, if you're wondering. You guys know in my previous videos, you see me dip the pretzel rods into a long cup, and that's the method I prefer. But I did try this because, you know, I like to try TikTok hacks. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Oreos. And so we're using that same pink chocolate. So this order is actually, her colors are like a baby pink and like a navy blue. So I'm just getting about 2 tablespoons of that chocolate into the bottom of the Oreo mold. And you know what I don't like about this mold? I like the mold. It's easy to use, but why are there only 5 cavities and not 6? I don't understand that. I always have to go back and end up making an extra Oreo because there's only 5. That's so aggravating. But I like to buy these individually packed Oreos because when I do buy the bigger packs and you only need like 12 or 24, you have a lot of extra. I mean, they don't go to waste in my house because everybody seems to be addicted to Oreos in this house. But I like to keep them. I don't like to buy Oreos and then like we eat them all. I like to buy the ones that are pre-packaged like you saw, so they can have a longer shelf life and I can use them as needed, and we don't go on a whole Oreo binge in this house. But yeah, so I got the Oreo into that chocolate at the bottom, and then I got like another 1.5 teaspoons of chocolate on the top. I'm just cleaning off the edges and giving it a tap to make sure I get all the air bubbles out, and then those are going to go into the refrigerator. Okay, while our Oreos are in the fridge, we're going to get started on our Rice Krispies. And so I actually cut my paper straws in half. I don't know, I like the shorter straws on the Rice Krispies, and it saves money because you only have to use half a stick for each one. So I'm just getting half of that stick into the chocolate and then into the top of each of these Rice Krispies. And after I get the stick into each one of them, I let them sit for about 2 or 3 minutes. I want that chocolate to harden up before I actually use the straw to pick it up and try to dip it. You do need to let that chocolate harden up so it'll act as like your little handle when you're dipping it in the chocolate. And so now we're gonna use those little straws, and we're gonna dip our Rice Krispies into our chocolate about 3/4 of the way down, and then we're just gonna scrape off the additional chocolate on the bottom. I do let my Rice Krispies dry standing up. I love the way they look standing up. They give them a flat bottom, and then when my customers actually present them on their dessert tables and dessert bars, they are easy to stand up, and they look much better, like presentation wise, when they stand up. I used to, once upon a time when I made Rice Krispies, I used to dip the whole entire thing and then I would lay it flat to dry. And then when I went to go deliver an order once, and I was setting them up, she did ask me, are they able to stand up? And they weren't able to stand up because the bottom was not completely flat. So ever since then, I changed the way I was dipping them because I do feel like they look a lot better when they are flat on the bottom, and then they can stand them up on their dessert tables. Okay, so these are edible images that I had printed at my local cake store, and they actually matched the invitation for the gender reveal. She did send me a copy of the invitation, and I was able to go online and find some images that actually matched her invitation, which was very cool. So I'm going to use these images both for the cupcake toppers and then also to top some of the Oreos. So for the cupcake toppers, you guys know I always tell you I size my images to 2.5. These are about 2.4, I believe. So I sized them to 2.4 inches to go on top of the cupcakes. And then for the for the Oreos, they are sized to 1.75. But I think I sized these a little bit smaller to give myself a border. These are about 1.72 or 1.71 inches in diameter. So I'm just cutting those out. And you guys know when you're working with edible images, you want to make sure your hands are completely dry, because any moisture from your hand will ruin the image, and it will actually make that spot wherever the moisture touch, it'll make it turn white. Okay, so next I use these flower molds and these baby feet mold to make these fondant pieces. All of those pieces are made out of fondant and not chocolate. And I'm going to use some edible gold leaf. As you see, my fan is like blowing it away. And so I'm just sticking it to the pink pieces. And it wasn't sticking. If you have a steamer, you could actually steam these to make them a little bit wet or moist, and then you can stick the gold foil, the gold leaf, to each one of your treats. So since I don't have a steamer, I am just dipping my finger in a little bit of the chocolate, just a little bit, just to make it just a little sticky, like tacky, for the gold leaf to stick, because I am actually going to do a drizzle over all of these, but I like my gold leaf to be under my drizzle and not on top of my drizzle. Okay, so now we're gonna get our drizzle. This is the same chocolate I was working with. Now I did thin it out a little bit. I added more coconut oil to it so I could get a thinner consistency, and this is how you get those perfect drizzle lines. It was actually too thick when I dipped it to do my drizzle. So whenever I'm done dipping my treats in the chocolate, I actually thin it out a little bit more so I get a much looser consistency, and then it's able to give you the really skinny, really good drizzle lines, as you can see. And yes, when I do the drizzle over my pretzels, I do them all at the same time, or at least I do a few of them at the same time. As you can see, I don't dip them one by one, and you will see me pushing each treat up a little bit, because when you do the drizzle, the chocolate drizzle, sometimes the lines will stick to like the treat that's next to it, or it will stick to the paper. So I move my treats up just a little bit, so that when I'm ready to lift them up, the line is not connected to the treat next to it or connected to the paper. It dries individually. So I'm doing the same thing I was doing now on the blue treats. I did these off camera, but I did them the exact same way as I did the first set of pink treats, except for those blue pretzels. You guys know I went back to the cup method. I just dipped those in a cup. I did not have time for that parchment method that we tried. So I'm doing the same thing with the gold leaf, and I'm going to get pink drizzle on these as well. I just like the pink on top of the blue. You can absolutely do the same color drizzle, but I used pink for all of the treats. So I'm just doing the same method that I did before, and that's how you get those super clean lines. And if your chocolate was much thicker, it will be much harder to do your drizzle lines. And like I said, I'm getting those fondant pieces down. Since there were so many pieces that I had to make, I did choose to use fondant over chocolate. You can use either one. Those molds work for both chocolate and fondant, but it's just quicker for me because I was able to make all those pieces in advance and I didn't have to melt any chocolate. It just was much quicker for me, and since I was already working with the fondant for the actual cupcakes, it was perfect. So I'm just getting some of those pieces on, and you guys know I like to make sets of treats that go together. I don't necessarily like to make 12 treats that exactly match each other. I like it to be a set that like kind of goes together. And I'm just doing those drizzle lines again with the pink chocolate, and once I'm done with all those treats, I'll move them just a little bit so that they dry individually and the lines are not connected. So now these are the cupcake toppers. Like I said, this is the same fondant from the pieces, and those are 2.5-inch circles that I just rolled out fondant and used my cookie cutter stack set. Everything I will link below, or it will be added to my Amazon store, which I will have that link below as well. This is just water that I'm using to stick my edible images to my fondant. You can absolutely use edible glue. You can use very thinned out royal icing, and you can also use piping gel, whatever works best for you. I'm just using a little bit of water, and again, I'm being very careful with it so I don't spill any water onto my images. Okay, so now I'm going to get the other images onto the Oreos, the smaller ones, and I'm just using my chocolate from earlier, just squeezing just a little bit, and then I'm sticking down those edible images on top of those Oreos. Last but not least, we are going to decorate our cupcakes. And this order, she wanted everything individually packaged, so that's why I have these cupcakes in the containers. I will link these containers below, or like I said, I'll add them to my Amazon store. And so this is just pink buttercream that I just colored myself. And I'm going to actually be decorating with royal blue buttercream as well. Like I said, she wanted everything individually packaged. So that's what I will also link the 2 tips that I use below for these cupcakes. And we're going to decorate some of them with both the pink and the blue. And the ones that just have the pink swirl, I'm going to add some of those fondant toppers that we made earlier. And there we have it, guys. These are how our cupcakes turned out. And those are all of our treats before I individually wrapped them all in clear bags. That's how everything turned out. Love, love, love how this order turned out. Love that she used royal blue instead of the standard baby blue. I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and consider subscribing. Bye. Sweet life, sweet, 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 sweet.